pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yeah!
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
Yes, sir. Back for another episode of the Culture State Podcast. I am Chris Lee. He is Dennis Jamel Cox, and we are Culture State. That's what we like to do. Celebrate the state of North Carolina in the best ways we possibly can.
You know, the state of North Carolina's had a pretty good September, Chris. It's had
Do you
a pretty
remember?
good September. I will say that.
21st night of September.
Not to be well, actually, guy, but the best day to listen to that song is September 22nd. Just saying.
Yeah, true.
Exactly. So
Absolutely.
Not to be well, actually, guy, but well, actually. So anyway, the state of North Carolina's had a really good month, especially when you look at the sports scene in the state. You look at how the four major ACC schools all started 3-0, first time ever that has happened in football in this state, which is really awesome. NC Central's off to a 4-0 start. ECU's had a pretty good start. App's been America's darling, even though they lost to James Madison. It's been a pretty fun start to the fall sports season, and crazy to think of it, hockey's getting started. College basketball's about to tip off too. The Panthers actually won a game. I don't know. It's been a pretty fun start to the fall sports calendar for the state of North Carolina. I'm enjoying it. I know we're having fun.
Here's something I want to bring up that, you know, it's people might think it's self-serving anything, but it's just facts.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers didn't start winning until you start imitating Matt Rule. And when I was sick, I didn't get a chance to go to the home opener. They lost. I did get a chance to go to the Saints game.
Yeah.
They won. Culture State might be a good luck charm for the schools that we cover and the teams that we cover.
It might be.
Be.
Well, here's the thing. They're 1-0 with you there. Granted, I did start making fun of Matt Rule, impersonating him before this past game. I did impersonation before they played the Giants and they lost that one. So maybe it's you having to be there. That's really what it comes down to.
But, okay, I will say this, though. They did play the Giants close.
Yay.
Give them something.
Yay. Congratulations.
All right. Sounds good.
Played a team close.
First-year head coach versus a third-year head coach, and the first-year head coach is so much
donuts.
better. Because the first-year coach actually went 2-0.
Come on.
Yeah. So anyway, the Panthers won. Happy for that. I know you're not a big Panthers fan, but I know you're happy when North Carolina succeeds.
I enjoy the Panthers. I want to see them win because, one, it's more fun, especially for us with people that cover the team. Believe it or not, we actually do want the teams that we cover to win.
Thank you.
It's so much more fun.
Thank you.
It is so much more fun.
Why do people think that we are cheering against the teams that we cover? No. If you cover a team, you want to cover a good team.
Yes.
Which means wins.
I'm sorry.
Which means championships.
Like when covering the Carolina Hurricanes, I love going to playoff games and talking about games that matter. I've covered the team when they were not good, and it was not fun.
When you go into locker rooms and you interview players afterwards, it's so much better to go into a locker room full of 53 guys who just won versus 53 guys who just lost, and they don't want to talk to you, and they have every excuse in the world, and they're mean to you and things like that.
Yep, exactly. But that's how it is.
Yep.
But anyway, on today's show, Chris, we have more 336 love, from my understanding.
Yes, we do. You know, this is interesting. I had talked to this guy before about joining the show, but I guess it kind of fell through. There's just kind of different things that was happening on our side and on his side. But I think this was divine intervention because, Dennis, I made a trip to the 336.
Oh, okay.
I was at home just for a little bit. And when I was there, I see this guy pull up and eating at the same Chipotle that I ate at.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I eat at Chipotle. He eats at Chipotle. I've been around this guy before.
I know him.
I've seen him. I've covered him. Let me walk up to him. Hey, Sam, I'm Chris. Oh, I remember you. Yeah. Hey, we do this thing. Can you be a part of this? Absolutely. Here's my number. Boom. Set it up. And that's how we got it. So Sam Hunt, former North Carolina A&T and NC State basketball player, was a graduate assistant for Coach Kevin Keatts, and now he's one of the assistant basketball coaches over at North Carolina A&T. So he's going from A&T to NC State, back over to A&T. He started his college career off at Jacksonville State, but we won't talk about that because that's not in North Carolina. But we'll talk about all the North Carolina stuff. And so he has a very interesting story and shared some really cool stuff with us about his decision to go into coaching, because he really could be playing professional basketball right now. That
he could be, but he chose a different career path. We'll get into that conversation with Sam Hunt next.
Yes, of course, we have to have that 336 love, and of course, Sam Hunt is joining us right now, former basketball player at North Carolina A&T, but then he also came over to NC State, played a year there, and also sat on the bench doing graduate assistant coaching work with Kevin Keatts, and now he's back over at A&T coaching there. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. So first off, I got to ask you about this, about going with the back and forth. There's always been a nice little relationship between A&T and NC State. You played at A&T, and then you got a shot at the ACC. What was that like for you in that transition, going from MEAC play to ACC play when you had that year with the NC State?
It was a difference. It was a big culture shock, just as far as going from an HBCU to a PWI, but also just the level of play was a lot different. Speed, athleticism, height, that played a huge part. And it's tough to say, but the resources are a little different as well. Just going from a mid-major to a high major, you can see it even in football as well as basketball, just the different resources you have at different levels. But it was a great chance for me to see what went on at that level, the things they do. And I think the biggest blessing was being able to bring it back as far as coaching wise, and trying to acclimate some of the stuff they do at that level to bring it down to a mid-major level.
Those differences, explain what some of those differences are that you've noticed mostly, or some of the biggest ones that stand
out. From a resource level, just different things they got. They might have a masseuse. A masseuse might travel with us on the road. You might have what we call, we're just bringing it here to A&T, but you had a training table. So after each practice, you got a buffet out waiting for you. You got a meal waiting for you. You got a catered meal waiting for you right after practice. So little things like that make a big difference when it comes to just the bodies of the athletes that, when you're going through a tough season, if you're trying to keep a player at 190, are they getting fed enough? Because you're not lifting as much as you used to. And so, are they getting the right nourishment to keep up their body weight to be able to play through a whole season instead of losing 10 pounds because you're not eating the same amount of meals, you're not eating as much as you were because you're running so much and you're playing 2 or 3 games in a week, that it's hard to keep on that same body weight if you're not eating the right meals.
Let me ask you this: as far as the transition from player to coach, you had that 3-point shot, man, and I remember that was money for you. But instead of, I don't know if you tried to go overseas or anything like that, but it felt like you could have made all kinds of money doing that, but you decided to go into coaching. What was the difference for you in wanting to sit on the bench with Kevin Keatts and get under his learning tree, in that aspect versus expanding your career as a player?
So funny story is I went to China. I went to China for a month and a half, maybe 2 months, and went over there. It was like a foreign tour. We played a bunch of the CBA teams that's over there, and I went over there, got a great opportunity, great chance. I loved it. While I was over there, I actually had a pretty good stint, and on the team I was on. And so when I got back, I went back to NC State to train for maybe a month and a half, and I was supposed to go to Austria. My agent was getting situated where I went back. And so me and Coach Keatts had a conversation. He had told me, this opportunity is a window right here. You got a chance to be a GA. I got a GA opening, which a lot of times it's not easy to get a GA open, especially at that level. And so he told me, he said, this opportunity is not going to be here forever. I'm giving you a chance to get your foot in the door, or you can go back overseas. And like I said, I think my contract might have been for $1,600. And what people don't know is when you're in the ACC at that level, you're getting a stipend, you're getting the cost of attendance, you're getting a refund check. So truthfully, honestly, the way it's set up now, a lot of college kids are going to make more money in college than they are their first contract overseas, just depending on what you get.
Wow.
And so, he gave me an opportunity, and he said, think on it. And so I want to say I took maybe a month. And when I tell you, Chris, I cried, I prayed, just because, basketball is all that I knew for that period of time in my life from 4 to 22. And I'm thinking, of course, like every kid is, you're going to go to the NBA, you can go play basketball professionally overseas 10 to 20 years. And I knew eventually I did want to coach, but it's so hard to get into college coaching that when the opportunity presented itself, I took it. And it wasn't an easy transition at all. I want to say in that month time, I was able to handle the fact of transitioning from being a player to coaching. And I told myself, once I get into coaching, I don't ever want to regret or say, oh man, I could have played. Like, this is what you want to do. This is what you want to do. And so I also knew, like, I love to see players develop. During that time when I was in college, I did like training with kids. I would come home and train kids, help my dad. And so I knew I just loved the development piece of seeing kids progressively get better over time.
I want to go back into just that moment where you say you took a month and that there were hard times, kind of, figuring out what you wanted to do with that. There's also a piece of you that has to let go of the ego part of it, right? Because, you want to play basketball so people can see your face and see what Sam Hunt can do. But then with coaching, in a way, you kind of take a back seat for a while. So eventually at some point you can be propelled forward. What do you think was like the final moment where you said, you know what, okay, the coaching is what I want to go after? What do you think made that slight difference?
Like I said, I enjoyed seeing guys develop. Like,
Okay.
I knew when I was going through that process of working out, getting better, trying to get ready to go professionally. And it was funny, I had a workout with the Hornets, and my agent did a great job of getting me on there to the workout. But the biggest thing was, Sam, how long do you want to play this? How long do you want to do this? And I got a chance when I went from China and came back, I got a chance to see the business side. I seen players not get paid. I realized myself, I'm a big family guy. I love my mom, my dad, my sisters, my niece, and my nephew. That was a hard transition not being around them. And so I'm imagining I have to do 10 months over there. And everybody, some people can do it, some people can't. I just knew, me personally, it's like 10 months over there, and I'm missing my family. My body a little bit started to break down, knees started to get banged up a little bit. But I knew that I enjoy seeing people develop. So over that time, in that month, like I said, I prayed on it. I talked with God, my parents, and just realized, like, this is something you want to do maybe 10 years down the line, but it's an opportunity that you can get into right now. And so as an ego standpoint, your ego takes a huge drop. It takes a huge drop. You become humble because you're going from being on the court getting praised to now you're becoming to helping the guys that's playing. You're helping develop them to where they can receive the accolades, they can reach their goals. And so that's where your ego takes a step back.
So going from player to coach, there are guys on the team that you played with, that were teammates with. How hard was that adjustment going from, hey guys, I'm your teammate, to now you got to listen to me, I'm coach?
Yeah, so in that transition to me being a GA, one of my closest friends, when I was on the team, we spent almost every day together. And I mean, from in the morning breakfast to after practice, dinner, lunch, to later in the evening, like hanging out. And that was Torrin Dorn. He ended up having 1 more year after me. And so that was the toughest part. I call him TD. TD was like, yo, let's go hang out. Let's go grab some food, or, let's go to a bar. See, I can't do that, man. Like, we can't. Like, we might can still go get food here and there, but as far as us going out, hanging out, I couldn't do it. And it was different, from me working out with them to working them out, or me trying to fix certain things in this game, to the same thing with Markel Johnson. Like, for me, us hanging out at what we called the College Inn at the time, that's where we stayed, to like, I can't come over there with y'all right now, man. Like, I love y'all to death, but, I'll meet y'all in the gym that morning. Or, we can go grab some food, but I can't go with y'all out at night. And so that was the biggest thing. And people, too, I would say the most humbling experience, the manager is the hardest part of but people fail to realize on the support staff, because they're washing clothes, they're carrying bags, they're rebounding. They hardly get any sleep. So I remember when I was a player, how much work our managers put in, and I always appreciated them for that. But so when I was a GA that year, I went from day carrying my bags to maybe washing my clothes to rebounding for me to I'm the rebounder to who needs help with something. Knowing now that coaches work way harder than the players. As a player, you're putting in the hard work. It's not even close. As a coach, it's a 24-hour job. So because you're liable for 18 to 22-year-olds, when a parent sends their child or their young man, young athlete to a college, university, they're trusting them with them. And so I'm liable for them in the morning. I'm liable for them at 3 in the morning. And so I have to make sure they're fine. I have to make sure nothing's going on with them. I have to make sure their grades are good academically, socially, they're fine, all of that. And so that was the biggest thing that I learned from going from a player to coach, that it never stops. It's a 24-hour grind. And that even in the recruiting, you think recruiting is just fun and games. Nah, you might be on the road for 3-4 days. You might watch a game at 8 in the morning, and then you're not going to leave that gym to 9 at night. Then when you get off at 9 at night, you got to make phone calls to the different coaches. You got to make maybe a report of what you've seen that day. And so you might not go to sleep to maybe 12 or 1. And so it's a grind. It's a grind. You got to really love it to be in it.
I will say, as someone who used to coach collegiately myself, I coached women's lacrosse. Everything you're saying, I 100% get. Which I want to know, just tell people, how stressful is it as a coach? Because your livelihood is based on the decisions of 18 to 22-year-olds.
That is the biggest thing. Like, I used to always wonder, like, why do my coaches stress out? Like, what are they stressed out about? It's just basketball. No. If technically we don't win games or we don't meet the academic requirement, then we will not get paid or you will get fired. And so I tell my guys like this, man, I said, I want to go home. I want to sleep peacefully. I said, that relies on what y'all do once we leave this practice facility. And if y'all don't do that, then I won't sleep peacefully. My job is at jeopardy. And so it's a stressful job, but it's also a blessing too. Like, at the end of the day, I'll tell people, you can't see my whole outfit, but I have on shorts. I get to wake up every day, put on a shirt, shorts, and sneakers. And I get to go be around young men that love what I love doing. They love playing basketball. They love trying to get better. And so it's my job to find ways to get them better, not just on the court, but just develop them as young men. And so it becomes like I'm still at that age where I say I'm a big brother role. I'm coaching you, but it's more of a big brother mentoring role. I'm here to help you try to achieve the stuff you want to achieve that maybe I didn't achieve or I did achieve. I want to see you do it at a higher level. And so that's kind of where I'm at. It is very intense, very stressful, but it's also the biggest blessing that I couldn't ask for. I wouldn't want to replace.
Speaking of HBCUs, having experience both not only just as a player but professionally, how much have you seen the attention towards HBCUs grow over the last few years?
It's grown tremendously. Deion Sanders has done a great job at Jackson State. He's really brought it up to attention. Lavelle Moulton has built North Carolina Central up tremendously and brought a lot of attention. And Coach Rob Jones at Norfolk, he's done a great job of building it up as well. And so the attention is there. Attention has been brought back to HBCUs. Now we just got to continue to build it. And I also think, like, with recruiting, like, it's been I'm not gonna say easier, but with us changing conferences at A&T, it's helped me out a lot in the recruiting process of saying that we're playing in a better league, we're playing in a bigger league. The CAA is the top 12 conference in the country, and so with that, like, it's been able to help recruiting. But it's been, even with the star guys, like in the top guys in the country, like the Mikey Williams or the Trey Parkers, giving attention to HBCUs and actually trying to consider going to HBCU, and Chris Paul also being, representing Winston-Salem State in North Carolina A&T. That has brought a lot of attention to us and what we're trying to build to be able to compete at that level.
You played under Cy Alexander.
Yeah.
Jay Joyner took over, and then Will took over. And we actually had him on the show. Willie Jones took over, and we had him on the show. Now
Yep.
it's Philip Shumpert, and it's you
Yep.
as the assistant coach. And you've been able to go from a GA to an assistant coach in a pretty good amount of time. What have you, and then also time under Kevin Keatts. So as far as being under those minds, how has it kind of shaped you and your style of coaching and what you want to bring to the sport of basketball uniquely as Sam Hunt?
It shaped me a lot. Like Coach Keatts, when I first was a GA, and I go back. Cliff Warren, he's at SMU now. He was my freshman coach at Jacksonville University. He probably taught me the biggest thing, which was when I was a freshman, he was hard on me, every day, and I never understood it till around January during the season. He brought me in for a meeting and said, I'm going to always be like this on you, but I have to be like this on you now because you're next in line to be my starting point guard. And, they ended up getting fired. But his biggest thing he taught me was communication, always talking, always being alert, always communicating overly communicate so things can't drop or nobody can drop the ball because you talked about it. He shaped me. Coach Alexander was a great father figure to me as well. Just being under him, he taught me a lot as a player, but just, his organization is at another level. He's so organized. He probably has documents from 1960. And so he taught me a lot. And then, playing under Coach Keatts as a player, just how he is, like, everything when you just being organized, but also just being a people person, being able to talk to everybody, being compatible with people, relating. And, he's one of the best recruiters I've been around, but just also a great motivator. Like, he knows how to make somebody run through a brick wall for him. And I think that's one of his biggest attributes, just being compatible, relatable, and then being a great motivator when he was there. And then also Coach Jones, people don't know this. That's the reason I went to Jacksonville University. He recruited me when I was 15, so he's known me since I was a kid. And him just being here, he taught me a lot on the recruiting side. He taught me the coaching game, how to be a professional. Like I said, he was more of a big brother role to me than just a coach because, like I said, I've known him since I was 15 years old. And so we had a chance to build a great relationship just as a player and as me going into my young professional career. So he taught me a lot. And that's over the time, I've picked pieces from each one of them, and tried to add it to me, who I am as a person, and just, try to build on to who I am. And then, so it's been great. Like, I've had a lot of great minds I've learned from, a lot of great coaches that have added different values to me that they don't even know that I still use when I'm recruiting. And even, I'll say this, even he's in our conference, Takeo Siddle. Takeo Siddle recruited me from Gardner-Webb when I was in high school to when I was at NC State. He's up there one of the best recruiters I've been around. And he's probably the most organized coach I've seen when it comes to just having everything in order, even how he does his scouts. If I had to tell you who I probably get my scouting reports from and the idea I take from how he did it, he would probably be the guy that when I'm looking back, like, this is how he was going into a game. This is how he was going into practice. And so I try to emulate that still to this day.
He's doing a great job at UNCW, too.
Heck of a job.
Are you taking the Coach Keatts, we're going to ice cream after victories?
I haven't got there yet. I hopefully when I am a head coach one day, I'm going to steal that too. I'm not an ice cream guy. I might take my guys frozen yogurt. I might do frozen yogurt.
Yeah, lactose intolerant. I don't know if that's you, but that's me right there. Ice cream be messing me up. Like, I keep telling Dennis, you're not going to be my friend if you're around me if I have dairy.
Exactly. You ain't going to know what's going on at all.
And finally, as we kind of like wrap this thing up, you've been able to kind of grow yourself as a player and as a coach in the state of North Carolina, and I know that eventually you'd want to like expand and fly your wings, elsewhere. But what's so special about this state and the basketball community here and all the talent that comes out of here, from the players to the coaches? You got the facilities and you got people that come here to train in the off season and things like that. What makes this place so special in your eyes?
I think the thing you said was community. It feels like a family. So you can go to any other state, and I feel like it's just spread it out, bits and pieces. Here, everybody knows everybody. Everybody wants to hoop with with the next person. Everybody might want to work out with the next person. It's not one of the things you see somebody, you think you might know them, and you might just walk away. Nah, it's like one of the things when you see somebody, you give them the dap hug. Like, it's not one of them just, what's up, pound. It's like, yo, you came out of North Carolina. You played here, you played there. It's love, and it's a genuine love, because I think each and every person in the sports industry, whether it's coaching, playing, we just want to see each other win. And it's no like ill will towards somebody achieving something that you might didn't achieve, but they achieved it. And so you're just happy to see the next person win, whether they're younger, older. I think I like saying the word OGs. Your OGs should want to see the next generation win. And I think the OGs, whoever you consider your OG is, I got a few of them. They've wanted to see me come up. They want to see the next person come up and do more than they did. And I think it's not like that anywhere else.
We want to thank Sam Hunt for joining us today. Absolutely great guy and great interview. We learned a lot from him. Excited for him and excited for his future. And who knows, Dennis, we could be looking at one of the future coaching stars, and instead of maybe later on, he is a Wake Forest head basketball coach or an NC State head basketball coach. You just never know. Or maybe he goes out of state and he's leading one of the other big ACC teams as a head basketball coach. And we're like, man, Sam Hunt, remember that time we interviewed him way back, and now he's one of the top coaches in the nation. So we're cheering for him and hope that his career ends up blossoming to the fullest extent.
Now I feel like playing like, oh, what ACC school will he be coaching in 2036? Let's see. Who's going to need a head coach in 2036? Probably Louisville, Syracuse. Like, there's a lot of different places we could throw out there that might need a new head coach in
Virginia. I mean, if you think maybe you give Tony Bennett another 10 years before he decides to move forward, or maybe he loses his way and they just need to be reinvigorated with new energy.
Oh, I doubt that's going to be losing his way, Tony Bennett. But
I mean,
I think that guy's earned some cachet.
He's earned some cachet, but I'm saying, like, at a certain point, if you don't evolve, maybe the pack defense, doesn't work for everybody. And college basketball players want to go to college basketball to score. It's not fun winning 45 to 42 games.
I don't know. The rules are going to change in college basketball. I think the shot clock's going to speed up, things like that. So it's all going to evolve and change. Yeah. But nevertheless, it will be cool to see Sam Hunt work his way up. You never know. He might be a future coach of your UNCG Spartans.
Which would be actually kind of cool with him being going against North Carolina A&T or playing for North Carolina A&T. One of his best friends that he went to, I believe he went to high school with him, but at least, know that they're really good friends, Deontay Baldwin. They were same age. Deontay with the UNCG. Sam ended up going to A&T, and they would play against each other in those games. And so that would be kind of a cool thing. And I'd welcome it for sure.
More 336 love here on Culture State, just for you, Chris Lee.
We got to do it. But it's 919 in there as well because, he spent some time in Raleigh at NC State. So all the Wolfpack fans, you got a chance to learn a little bit something about one of your former players. We want you guys to follow us at Chris Lee TV, at The Fan Rookie, at Culture State Pod, Twitter, and Instagreasy. We appreciate you.
Also, make sure you follow 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page, Instagreasy. Yeah, follow 99.9 The Fan's YouTube page. There's a playlist of just Culture State, so you can go back and watch previous episodes. There's original content that comes from our in-studio show, which is live on The Fan, 99.9 The Fan, as well as WREL Sports Fan and WREL Sports Plus, 10 to noon on Saturdays, so you can listen to that anywhere. We have content from there, original content that we put up there. There's a whole playlist of just Chris and I doing stuff. So go check it out.
Exactly.
Subscribe to it as well. Like it, subscribe to it. That way, anytime something pops up, boom, it's right there for you.
Reunited, and it feels so good. Thank you guys so much. Even though my voice kind of quivered at the end of that. I'll work on it. I'll get the lemon juice. We'll be back next week with another great episode. This is Culture State. Peace.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WREL Sports Fan app.